Welcome to part 4. My name is Andrew. I'm a graduate student at the University of Waterloo and a community animator with Reap Green Solutions. In part 3, Lucia shared some examples of ways that we can take action in all the different categories of Project Neutral's carbon calculator. We now know how we can make change in our personal lives, and we've even picked a first action that we want to take. But how can you go about making a bigger impact in the community around you? How can you connect with others to inspire further action? The first thing you can do is simply talk about climate change with your family, friends, classmates, and other school groups or community groups that you might be a part of. Just talking about climate change and the climate solutions is one of the most impactful things that you can do. A feeling or experience that I often feel, and that makes it challenging, is that when you feel like you don't hear your friends or your family talking about climate change very much. When this happens, when other people around you don't talk about climate change, we think that other people don't care, and so we don't talk about it. But then they think that we don't care, so they don't talk about it, and we end up having nobody talk about it. So all of this to say, one big change you can do is just talking. Simple as that. And here are a few tips for when you're talking about climate change and what you can do. One, you can make it personal. When you're talking about climate change, talk about how it's influencing your own life, what you're feeling or what you're experiencing. This would help others understand where you're coming from. Two, keep it hopeful. Focus on the positive. There are a lot of negatives with climate change, but there are also a lot of positives too. And by focusing on those positives and where action can happen, that's where big change can happen too. And third, you want to listen. This is one of the biggest parts of having a conversation about climate change. It's listening. By listening without judgment and listening to other people's thoughts, concerns, fears, and assumptions, you get to understand where they're coming from. And we here follow a no shame, no blame policy. This helps to create a safe space for productive conversations and helps you understand maybe some of the underlying reasons behind somebody else's thoughts. Maybe they don't believe in climate change because they don't feel it personally. You can only really learn this through listening to them and creating a space where they can talk about it. And with that, then you can make next steps to learn how to talk with them about climate change. Now, when we start talking with others, we learn that we're not the only ones who care, and we're not the only ones who want to take action. In fact, when you find people who care, you often can take action together. And by taking action together, your impact can be much bigger. Big system changes start with people in groups making a difference in their community. Here we have two examples of sustainability leaders in our community who will be sharing their stories with us. First, let's listen to Izzy and hear about her story.
Hi there, my name is Izzy and I am the owner and founder of Izzy's Imperfect Items. So I started Izzy's Imperfect Items in my second year of university at the University of Guelph when I started making changes to my personal life to be a little bit more sustainable. So I would try and shop low waste, buy produce that wasn't wrapped in plastic, and so on and so forth. So I got the idea to start the business when I noticed hair ties all over the university campus, and I decided that maybe I should start doing something with them. I started collecting them, washing them out very thoroughly, and then I had some scraps of fabric that I used to turn them into scrunchies. I started sharing them with friends, a lot of people showed interest, and that is when I launched my business. I was inspired to start this business after being a member of the sustainability office and doing a lot of sustainability initiatives on campus, and so I really felt inspired and compelled to do something of my own. Being a part of the sustainability office really propelled me to think creatively and come up with my own solutions for waste reduction and climate action and overall helping the community be more sustainable. When I think of a sustainable future, I think of collaboration between youth and experienced professionals to create innovative solutions for the climate issues we hear about today. I am very excited and I look forward to seeing a fossil free, carbon positive, and just future.
Next, let's listen to Jenna and her story.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jenna. I am the founder of Clear the Air, which is an online education platform for young people like yourselves. And it consists of a blog and podcast, and it seeks to educate, inspire, and mobilize youth to take climate action. I was inspired to start this back in my first year of university when I discovered that information about climate change and sustainability was inaccessible to individuals that were not studying it in university, yet it's information that impacts everybody. So I wanted to make this information accessible and relevant, and that's how Clear the Air was born. Connecting with people really was valuable for me in sharing stories, making the information relevant, and opening up my worldviews and understandings of sustainability. So I interview a lot of young sustainability leaders on my platform. And having conversations with other people in this field has led to new partnerships, such as events that I got to speak at, different projects that we collaborated on, and so much more. So community is really central to the work that I am doing, and it has allowed me to grow as a sustainability leader, and it has really made the information I'm putting out into the world rich. What excites me about a sustainable future, I think it's by connecting with people, I'm seeing the leaders of the next generation and the impact they're going to make. And that really fuels my motivation to keep going with so many amazing people in the world taking action.
It's awesome to hear from these sustainability leaders what they're doing and how they got there. Can you think of anyone taking climate action in your community? Is there anyone that inspires you? Maybe it's a friend, a family member, or a neighbor. Or maybe it's just somebody you've seen on TV. Feel free to take a minute to think about it or discuss with people around you who you know that inspires you. We've now reached the final check-in and final question that we have for you. We want to know what excites you about a sustainable future. Is it having more trees or more animals? Is it free transit? How about maybe you want to make a huge vegetable garden? Take a moment to write it down if you have a worksheet, or just chat with the people around you. Something I'm really excited about is bringing a lot more green spaces and a lot more nature into the cities that we live. Creating spaces that have nature in them, I think can have a huge impact on just how we experience our everyday lives. Congrats, you've just made it to the end. And thank you so much for following along with us and making it all the way here. Let's do a quick recap of what we've learned so far. In part one, Sophie taught us that climate change is happening because we are releasing too much carbon into the air. And we need to, one, stop releasing carbon, and two, draw carbon back down using carbon sinks. In part two, we learned how our daily actions are contributing to carbon emissions by calculating our carbon footprints with Lucia. In part three, Lucia helped us to discuss and brainstorm ways to take action in many areas of our lives, including the 5 that we were focusing on, which were home energy, transportation, travel, food, and waste. And finally, we learned that connecting with our community is important and that we can make a change by just talking about climate change with others. Individual actions lead to community actions. Now, before we let you go, here's a quick reminder of a few next steps that you can take. We encourage you to calculate your carbon footprint again with the members of your household. By visiting Project Neutral's website, you can find 5 more surveys that help to make a deeper dive into those 5 categories that we looked at and help to make your results a bit more accurate. You can also take your first step. Remember that action that you wrote down? Why not try to do it today or tomorrow? The best way to take action is by starting with the things that are simple and easy to do. You can also have a conversation with someone about climate change or climate actions that you might be wanting to take or that first step that you will hopefully be trying to take. Maybe this could be a family member, someone in your class, the person beside you right now, perhaps, or just a friend. We have so much we can learn from each other, and together we can build a great support system. We would also love to hear your feedback on the program. If you have a minute, please complete the survey linked in the description to help us continue to develop these sessions and bring you the resources that you need. And we have one final thank you to our funders, the Region of Waterloo and RBC, who make it possible for us to meet with people like you, the next generation of climate leaders, and to start conversations around climate change to help make our communities more sustainable. Thank you so much.